Meantime, the time for talk is over. UN Ambassador Nikki Haley sending a clear message to North Korea following the rogue regime's latest nuclear test. China and Russia also putting their own military might on display, looking to catch Washington's attention. So is the time for talk really over? Joining us now, Hudson Institute fellow and national security expert Rebeccah Heinrichs. Rebeccah, thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning.
So let's begin with this latest North Korea missile launch, the longest in the history of the rogue regime, we're told. It went, 2,300 miles into space. It flew for 45 minutes. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, you know, the North Koreans have been trying to perfect this capability for many years. And every time, you know, something happens where it blows up on the launch pad or it's not a successful test, there's been so many people in the think tank world or the intelligence community that says that, you know, they're just not that good at building rockets. But what they've been doing is every time they have a failed test, they take that technology, they take those mistakes and they apply them, and then they get it right the next time. And so we have been watching them just march towards this capability. Now they have the capability, many of us believe, to reach the entire United States. That's Pennsylvania, Ohio, New York, all the way spanning the whole United States with a nuclear-capable ICBM if they can get that nuclear warhead on the missile. So, you know, we've been watching it happen. It's been happening over the years, and we haven't done anything. We haven't done enough to stop the program.
And, you know, we've been talking about this, you and I, over the past several weeks, and one of the things that has been discussed is more pressure on China because China has the most power over North Korea in terms of sanctions and trade. Here's what President Trump had to say, that he's disappointed in what China has done. The tweet actually said, "I am very disappointed in China. Our foolish past leaders have allowed them to make hundreds of billions of dollars a year in trade, yet they do nothing for us with North Korea. They just talk. We will no longer allow this to continue. China could easily solve this problem." And you've said the same thing.
Yeah, he's right. You know, trade with China for North Korea accounts for 90% of North Korea's trade. If there wasn't for trade with China, North Korea would have no money to spend on its nuclear program and its missile program. Remember, this is a country, North Korea, that's willing to starve its own people. It has prison camps so large you can see them from space. They repress their regime. So that's not, the money isn't going anywhere other than their illicit missile program. So China is the one that has the most, if not the only, leverage over North Korea right now, apart from a credible threat of force from the United States, and we do not want to go the military route to handle this problem. It would be tragic, and so we really need China to squeeze North Korea, and so we have to squeeze China through secondary sanctions.
That's something we have seen. We saw China display this military force in this parade celebrating the 90th anniversary of the People's Liberation Army. We also saw Russia do a similar thing, celebrating their annual Navy Day. But you say those shows of strength mean nothing if there's nothing to back it up.
That's true. Both of these countries, they conduct these massive shows of force, is what they're called, and they're meant to intimidate. They're meant to actually, you know, demonstrate their capabilities. And the United States does them too. You know, the United States conducts these wargaming exercises and these shows of force with NATO, and that's to actually show our adversaries that the United States can meet them and actually dominate them if it does come to use of force. But the Trump administration has to do something different than what the Obama administration did, and that's back up talk with action. And so we cannot just continue to talk tough. I think Nikki Haley was right when she says the time for talk is over when it comes to North Korea. We cannot just say that we condemn you know, these illicit activities. We actually have to back that up with sanctions. We have to back that up, again, with a credible threat of force so that our adversaries know that we mean it and we're not just, you know, we're not just all talk.
Right. When you talk about that red line, hold to it. Rebeccah Heinrichs, thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate your insight as always.